Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. It's Nobi, and yeah, I've been using the Redmi Note 10 Pro as my daily driver for more than a month now, and in today's video we're going to discuss everything about it that I have experienced over the last month. So if you're interested in this particular topic, then make sure to stay till the end. With that said, let's hit that intro. So the things that we're gonna start off with are the bad things or the cons, as you may say. Now, starting with the issue with the build that I faced was that although the back is a frosted finish, but it is very slippery. So if you're using it without a case, it's not gonna stay in your hand very well. So it's gonna slip out eventually. So in that case, I would recommend you getting a skin or a case for your device. Another thing that I noticed about the build is that the side panel, that are the frame, and the back panel are almost untouched. They look as good as new, but there is a part between the screen and the frame. There is a black plastic part, so that part has a lot of scratches now, and yeah, I had a case on at all times. Now moving on to the software part of things, the notifications are still messed up. I still don't get notifications for a lot of apps, and even if I get them, they're all messed up. Like sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. Yeah, so it's kind of messy right now. And also for some music players like Apple Music, there is no player shown on the notification panel and even on the lock screen. So that is a big moment because I use Apple Music as my main music player for streaming music, but yeah, the music player doesn't show up on the notification panel or on the lock screen more often than not. Now, the UI, which is right now running on MIUI 12.5, has a lot of jitters, honestly, especially while multitasking, while using picture-in-picture mode or using two apps at the same time. Yeah, these things have a little bit issues and they slow down quite a bit. So yeah, there are inherent jitters here and there in the UI. Although the UI has become much smoother after the MIUI 12.5 update, but that was not the case earlier. I had to do a factory reset, and after that a lot of things have been fixed. A weird thing that happened with me was that if you keep your phone idle for quite a few hours, if you don't do anything on your phone, and after that when you unlock your phone, everything is very jittery, everything lags, everything takes a lot of time to load, and yeah, it stays until and unless you restart the device. So yeah, that is a big issue that I see, but I cannot recreate it manually. It happens sometimes, it sometimes doesn't happen. Okay, so as we know that there is a side mounted fingerprint scanner on the Redmi Note 10 Pro, and yeah, it is quite convenient, but it is also a nuisance at the same time, because I have set it to the touch setting, so touching it unlocks the phone, and in that process I have a lot of accidental touches when it's in my pocket or I'm trying to do something else. Yeah, that is a thing which annoys me a lot. Okay, so the next thing is that when I was using the camera, shoot a lot of photos for the camera samples and the video samples. So yeah, I was doing it outside and the phone heated up like crazy, and yeah, the camera app crashed. Yes, it did. The camera app crashed and everything went down. It showed a message that the screen has heated a lot, the phone has heated a lot, and we're shutting down due to overheating. So yeah, that is a thing which definitely happens if you're using the camera app or any very heavy task. So yeah, it strains the processor, the 732G, a lot. The issue with RAM management still persists. RAM management is not good at all. So when you're using the phone, if you open some heavy app like the camera app, so the last app that you opened will get crashed or will get stopped in order for the camera app to work, basically. So yeah, I have the 6GB RAM 64GB variant with me, and I think that is not enough for MIUI to manage the apps in the RAM correctly. So maybe the 8GB RAM variant fixes some of these issues. I don't really know. The RAM management on the Redmi Note 10 Pro is not good at all, even after MIUI 12.5. Also, the auto brightness sensor is quite finicky. It sometimes doesn't even work. The brightness stays the same even if the ambient light around me like dims down or like brightens up. So yeah, that is a thing which I have noticed. It happens very rarely, but it does happen sometimes. Now another big issue that has still not been resolved is with the proximity sensor. So when you're taking calls with this particular phone, and when your phone is on your ear basically, so yeah, the proximity sensor sometimes doesn't work and the screen turns on and random buttons are pressed. So that is a big issue. Like I don't really take much calls, but yes, I still face the issue. But for the people who take a lot of calls throughout the day, this is gonna be a big issue. Alright, so that was all the bad things or the cons that I faced with the Redmi Note 10 Pro. Now let's talk about the good and the average things. So starting with the build, this phone feels really good in the hand. The grip is really nice. It is quite a narrow phone, so yeah, it fits well in my hand and I have no issues using it with one hand. But yeah, it is a tall phone. The design definitely feels premium. So you have glass at the back that is frosted, especially in this glacial blue color. It looks amazing. And although you have plastic rails, the like overall build quality doesn't feel cheap and indeed feels premium. The earpiece on this phone is really loud, so when you're taking calls you're gonna have no issues. I took a few calls and there was no issues listening to the other person. Speakerphone also works really well because this phone has really good speakers, so the speakerphone also works like exceptionally well, I would say. And you can definitely take calls with the speakerphone on this particular device. Now the mics on this phone are really clear. I have like faced no issues while like taking calls or recording voiceovers basically, and yeah, the other party also didn't complain about my voice being muffled or anything like that. Now the network reception on this particular device is really good. So in my room basically Airtel has very poor network connection, but on this phone I get like full network connection all the times. And this also supports carrier aggregation with like Geo. I only got carrier aggregation with Geo. I didn't find it with like Vodafone, but yeah, I could get it on like my OnePlus 70 with Vodafone also. So Wi-Fi speeds are also really good. I almost get the full connection speed. I have a 100 Mbps connection and I almost get 95 to 96 Mbps on the downloads and around 80 to 85 Mbps on the uploads, which is really good. The mobile data also works really fast due to the support of carrier aggregation. The 4G speeds are really good on this too. So if you are someone who like uses mobile data a lot, you won't be disappointed with this. So there is a headphone jack. Yes, there is my beloved headphone jack on this particular device, that is the Redmi Note 10 Pro, and that is a really good thing because this headphone jack supports high-res audio and it absolutely kills it with any kind of earphones that you use with it. So I have a pair of in-ear monitors and also a studio monitor. I have used both of them with this and it sounds amazing. So you have a hi-fi setting in the sound effects option. When you go to the settings, you just have to turn it on and bam, the audio quality just becomes really good. Also there are dual stereo speakers, one at the top, one at the bottom, which sound really good, to be honest. They lack a little bit of bass, but other than that everything is crisp and clear and you're really gonna enjoy listening to music or watching videos on this particular speaker set. But there is a bit of distortion at the highest volumes, so keep that in mind. Alright, so talking about the display on the Redmi Note 10 Pro, so this has a 6.67 inch 1080p Super AMOLED display which is clocked at 120Hz. It supports HDR10 and yet this display is simply amazing. It has great colors, it has deep blacks, and watching content on this display is really nice. So it also does have a punch hole camera at the front, but that is in the middle and it is really small, so it doesn't obstruct with anything. Although there is a silver ring around the front camera, which like sometimes may be a little distracting. So the 120Hz refresh rate works properly in most cases, especially after the MIUI 12.5 update. So yeah, it stays on 120 Hz in most cases, and I have always used this with 120 Hz turned on. But yeah, there are jitters in the UI. The 732G is not really capable of handling this display. So yeah, there are jitters in the UI, and MIUI is also not that like well optimized. But yeah, it is much better than before. Now the display gets adequately bright both inside and outside, but I would have hoped for a little more brightness when viewing outside in direct sunlight. Also, there is an inherent flickering issue while doing certain tasks like watching videos in picture-in-picture mode or like in dark mode in completely dark environments. So yeah, that is for certain conditions, not for everything. And in all the other scenarios, the display was great. So the viewing angles are pretty good, but yeah, it does like have a little bit of color shifting when you tilt to some difficult angles. I don't think anyone views their display from those angles, but yeah, that is something worth mentioning. So this display supports NDR HDR10 plus, and it also has the widevine L1 certification, but unfortunately you cannot play videos in HDR on Netflix. So yeah, that has not been fixed yet. Please Netflix and Redmi fix this. Now, the performance of the Redmi Note 10 Pro with the Snapdragon 732G processor and 6GB of LPDDR4X RAM is pretty good for day-to-day tasks. You won't really feel any like slowdowns or anything in regular usage, but yeah, it does like lack a bit behind when you're doing like multitasking or some heavy tasks. Gaming is also fine for like casual games, but yes, if you play something like BGMI or Call of Duty very heavily and you want to play it at the highest settings, that is not simply possible. Now, talking about the cameras, so yeah, the cameras are really good, especially the main sensor and the like 5 megapixel telemacro sensor. So we have 4 cameras at the back and 1 camera at the front. So at the back we have a 64 megapixel main sensor, then we have an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and then there's a 2 megapixel depth camera and a 5 megapixel telemacro camera. So the telemacro camera clicks like amazing macro photos, certainly the best macro pictures that I've seen in this price segment. And the 64MP main camera is also really good. It shoots very good pictures, but yeah, the colors are a bit saturated and the contrast is a little bit on the higher side, which is a kind of look I don't really like. But yeah, you can always tone it down when you're editing, because you can also shoot like raw photos from the camera app, which is really nice. So the pictures clicked from the main camera are crisp, have a lot of detail, have really good dynamic range, and they overall look really good. The wide angle camera is also pretty nice, but it is a little soft when compared to the main one. So you have a 16 megapixel front camera which also shoots really good photos, which also clicks really good photos, but there is a bit of like software smoothing. I have turned all of them off, but still it smoothens the skin a bit. So yeah, if you like that kind of look, you're gonna love these photos. But apart from that, it is pretty good for like social media and stuff. Now, talking about the video capabilities of these cameras, so from the back you can shoot up to 4K 30fps videos without any stabilizations, and the 1080p 30 video introduces EIS. On the front side of things, you can shoot up to 1080p 30 videos. The video quality is okay, I would say. Okay, for most cases, I have like in between shot a few videos with this phone and it turned out to be great. So talking about battery performance, so this has a 5020 mAh cell, and yeah, the battery performance is really good. To be honest, you can easily like use this phone for a day with about 8 to 9 hours of screen on time, and if you're like an average or a light user, you can even go to 1.5 or 2 days, which is really nice. I'm a really heavy user, so with about 24 hours of standby time, I get about 8 to 8.5 hours of screen on time, which is really good in my opinion. And this phone also comes with a 33 watt fast charger in the box, which charges the phone in about 1 hour 20 to 30 minutes, which is really good. And yeah, that's pretty much it for my full detailed review of the Redmi Note 10 Pro after using it for more than a month. And in my opinion, this is one of the best phones that you can get under 20,000 rupees. Although the price for the like 6GB 128GB variant has been increased, so 17,000 rupees, which is bonkers. So in this case, I would suggest you to go with the 6GB and 64GB variant, because you also have a microSD card slot. And yeah, I have the exact variant. It still costs 16,000 rupees, so if you can get that one and insert a big micro SD card, so you won't have to worry about storage after that. And that's about it from my side. If you like this video, then make sure to hit that thumbs up button, and also share this video with everyone who is planning to buy the Redmi Note 10 Pro. And yeah, I'll leave the links to buy this down in the description. Make sure to hit those links if you want to purchase it. Those are my affiliate links and it does help the channel. And yeah, with that said, I'm your friend Shinobi and I'm signing out. Peace.